Hi, and welcome back to As They Grow Up. This is Samantha, and today we are going to be talking about just what's been going on inside our homeschool. Stay tuned. So everyone, it feels like forever since I last updated you guys on our homeschool progress. December basically got away from us. I know my last update was at the end of November, and I apologize for that, but December was just crazy. And the bad thing is I was actually going to do my December update last week, and as you can see, I'm now doing January, so I might just go ahead and skip December and just move on. But anyway, we have been busy. We did take 2 weeks off in December, and we kicked it back into gear. This past week was our first week back from Christmas break, and it has been amazing. I'm serious, guys. I was worried because I don't know about in your homeschool, but in ours, when we've had an extended break, even though it was only 2 weeks, it was basically extended for us. We have tears when we start back. I have kids that don't want to do their work. I have kids that say they're tired, they're frustrated. Basically, they have just gotten out of the habit of the school and the routine, and they just don't want to do it. But I am happy to say that we went well. We had an amazing time. I think some of it, the kids were getting kind of burnt out like I was, and so I think this break really helped us feel more refreshed and ready to go. And then during the break, I also sat down and did Davis's student planner, and I'll show you guys that sometime, but I went ahead and planned his month out. And I think that helps him to be able to see the big picture. So every day when he opens his planner, it's got his spelling words for the week. He can see what he has to do for that day, what he has left for the rest of the week, and he kind of crosses it off as he goes. Luke doesn't have a planner yet, and that's okay. He's only in first grade, so I'm not too worried about that. This is actually the first year that I've done a planner with Davis, and he's in the 4th grade. And so far, I have been very pleased with the results that have came out of putting the planner into our homeschool. So first off, I'll talk about Davis. What did we do this week? Well, back in November, we switched his history. The history that he was using, while I loved the curriculum, he just was not a fan of it. And to me, it's really important that he wasn't really taking anything away from our lessons. When we would do the lessons, he was just kind of zoning out. And when we would do projects that involved the lessons, he was kind of zoning out. And back in November, we actually covered the Civil War, and he loves American history. And so we took the Civil War on, and we finished it. It was basically a unit study. So once we finished the Civil War, so then it was, what are we going to do? Well, a couple of years ago, I had done a review for master books in America's Struggle to Become a Nation. And it's talking about the Revolutionary War in America during that time. And I decided to do that. So I pulled that out, and it's recommended for 4th grade, which he's in 4th grade. And so this is the book, and I love it. We have the teacher book to accompany it, and the layout of this book is great. So we've just been doing this, and so far so good. So to go along with that, I've also added extra reading. Not that this is a lot, but when we do our curriculum, I like read, our read alouds or certain things like that. I like to add just to get more of a feel for it. And so he has been reading to go along with his curriculum just to learn more about the topic. It's not mandatory, but we like to kind of add it. Is What Was the Boston Tea Party? I love those books, and I think there are Penguin Random House books, but it's like, who is Helen Keller, or who is Thomas Jefferson? And this particular one is What is the Boston Tea Party? And it's wonderful. I'll leave all the links down below and the stuff that we've been using this week. And then this one is actually going to extend past the week because there was no way we could cover the whole book. We kind of pick it up and read about 10-15 minutes of it a day and just go with it. Sometimes he'll pick it up and continue reading it because those books are just laid out wonderfully. And along with that is we have been picking up, this is also a master book one, and it is For You They Signed, and it is great. Now this is a high school level book, so we are not diving into this as part of our curriculum. But the cool thing about this book is we can go in and read about certain ones. For example, we have been talking about, and I don't know where it's at, but we have been talking about Samuel Adams. Here's John Adams. I'll just show you John. So, we can go into John Adams, and next week we'll probably go into John Adams, but this past week we read Samuel Adams. And it just kind of tells the layout and tells more in depth about each person. So as we go through this book, we are going to be talking about these people. And that's when I'm going to pull this out, which is great to be able to get more in depth in that particular person. So we're just kind of adding this for fun. We may do it every, we don't do it every day. We may not even do it every week. It depends on where we're at. But I love this. It has great resources. So there's that. Also, we've been using Amazon Prime as well to go along with his history. Until recently, we've had Amazon Prime TV forever. And I just never used it. I mean, the boys like their Netflix, and I just never messed with Amazon Prime because I hate searching for stuff. And then I don't know what made me realize this, but there's a little search button there on Amazon Prime TV, and I can go and I can search. And I can search a specific word or a phrase, which I know you guys probably all know this. I'm late to the party, so I did not know this. And so I started typing in American Revolution. And that pulled up several things, documentaries and all of that we could actually watch. So on Fridays is kind of our light load day. It's kind of a wrapping up what we have left for the weekday. And so we watched two things on there. We've watched the American Revolution, and it was okay. It was more talking and it had some pictures, but he enjoyed it. He did take away from it. And then we watched I have this written down if you see me looking down because I don't want to forget. American Guns, A History of U.S. Firearms. And basically the only one I'm seeing right now that can apply to us was the episode 1, and it was about the Kentucky the long rifle and the Revolutionary War and how that was a popular rifle at that time. And so we watched the history of the Kentucky long rifle and how that played a part in the Revolutionary War and even the Civil War. So that was something that we did watch. He loved it because he likes learning about the history of stuff like that, how it's made and why it's made. So that went well with what we were doing. I also changed his science around. Nothing major. Nothing crazy or anything like that. We've been doing the Apology of Botany, and it was hard. It's hard for him. And he loves flowers and botany and things like that, but a lot of the activities seem to be in a time to where there's greenery on the ground, and right now we don't really have that. So we decided to take a short break until spring arrives, and during that short break we started doing, let's see, what is it called? The Christian Liberty Nature Reader. And he's on level 4, and that's the study of birds and all the other animals. And he is loving it. He is an avid bird watcher anyway. And he's going to be getting into other things. I have Luke's here, but I don't have Davis's. But so far, so good. And it's just kind of a nice break. We're going to be picking the botany up in the spring again to wrap up that part. But for right now, he's enjoying that break. To go along with what he's done this past week was with the birds is that, we had the bird feeders and stuff outside. We also watched Amazon Prime show on that as well, and it was Birds of the Backyard, winter into spring. And so he learned a whole lot about that. He went out with his own money and chose to buy another bird feeder because he feels that we don't have enough. And just what he's taken away from all of this, and as he's watching the birds, it's just amazing. So we really like it. And this is what it looks like. This is Luke. So it doesn't really have like full color pictures or anything, but it's written in a way, it's story form, and my boys just love it. So that is that. Another thing with teaching textbooks, that's what we're doing with Davis. And I got teaching textbooks for him because he struggles a lot with math, and really from looking at it, it was kind of one of based on some of the other math, I thought this was something that he could do. And we've kind of tweaked it this week. I've noticed that when he sits down, last year we tried some computer classes, and online classes, not computer classes, but he didn't do so well. He has a hard time comprehending by looking at it on the computer and then taking that knowledge back. So we dropped it last year, and with teaching textbooks, I knew there was a chance that he may or may not do well with it simply because it is computer based. But the nice thing about teaching textbooks is you do have that book, and we do have the book. And when he's doing it on the computer, his grades were being very low. when I sat down with him one-on-one, his grades, he's missing like one, if one at a time. So it makes a big difference. So, I mean, some people can just simply get it by using a computer and some people can't. I personally can't learn online that well. I've done it in the past when I was in college and it just doesn't work out for me, so I get it completely. So that's the only tweak we've done on that, is I'm now starting to print those out and we're sitting down one-on-one and we're doing those. So now the big picture is coming for me to try to figure out what we're going to do next year as far as math and what's going to work for him that isn't online, because clearly that's not working out too well. So what's going on with Luke so far this week? Well, one thing with Luke is he finished his first grade math curriculum. We were doing rod and staff, and we did Horizons in kindergarten, and so we went into rod and staff for first grade, and he basically just flew through it. So he wrapped up that, he finished that in December, and so we started in second grade math Monday, fresh. And so after looking at the different maths, I chose to go with Rebecca with him. And so far, so good. He loves it. It's brightly colored. It's fun. It's keeping him entertained. I just kind of pulled it out and binded it myself so that it was easier for him to flip. And it's working great. So far, so good. He actually says it's easy, but that's only because, as we all know, with the math curriculum when it first starts, it's going to recap what he's already done last year, which basically has just been last month. So it's starting out with the easy math, and it's gradually going to get harder, but I like it. The lessons aren't really long, and, you know, there is going to be some multiplication and division later on in the book from what we've looked at. That's okay. I quizzed Luke last week, and he knows a lot of his multiplication tables. He can basically do some of them up to the number 4. But we are focusing right now on our 2s. But anyway, I think he'll be fine once we get up there, because he knows his addition and subtraction facts, and now he's currently working on his multiplication facts, so I'm not too worried about that. For his history, he and Davis had the same history. Basically, the same company, the same type of curriculum, just different levels. And he wasn't loving it either. I was losing him as well. And he wasn't enjoying the lessons. I've tried to, you know, tweak it and change things and do our own thing, and it just wasn't working. It was a lot of work, and he wasn't really taking away a lot. So is what I chose to do, and I hate doing this, and I don't do this a lot. Usually when we change curriculum, I change it because I've already got something else on hand like this. I've already had this on hand. However, with his history, he wasn't getting it, so it's what I chose to do is I just scratched it. I just said, forget it. It's not working. I'm not worried about it. Let's find something that's going to work. And I turned to Rebecca, and with the Rebecca, we are doing their first grade history. And so far, Luke likes it. I think it's nice. The lessons aren't crazy long. It's written in a way that he can understand. It asks questions and things like that. So to go along with his history this week, we did read the Liberty Bell, and we covered the Pledge of Allegiance, and we also did the Bald Eagle book. And along with these fun little books, we also, I'm trying to hurry, I know this video is getting crazy long. We also watched some Amazon Prime for that. I found this really neat season on Amazon Prime movie, and it's called Symbols of America. And it is so neat. When I first started, I was afraid he was going to think it was boring. But he would actually ask him to watch sometimes 2 episodes at a time. So he was enjoying this. Next week he's going to be starting the Pilgrims. I may let him go ahead and finish the Symbols of America if he wants to this weekend. It's completely up to him. If not, then we'll save it and we'll do it next year or the next time that we do cover that particular part in history. But what we did is we matched up like the Symbols of America, like his history book would talk about the Liberty Bell per se. And so then we would go into the Symbols of America, and they would actually have a section on the Liberty Bell, and it would talk more in depth about the Liberty Bell. Or the Statue of Liberty and things like that. So it really went hand in hand with his history, which I thought was pretty cool. So we've been doing that with him. His science is what I chose to do with his science is he's been doing the astronomy by Apologia, and he loves astronomy, but he's been kind of itching to look at other things. And so with him, I also switched him to the Christian Liberty Nature Readers when I showed you a minute ago. It's level 1, And so this past week or so, he's been talking about spiders, and he's been learning about spiders. He loves it, and like I said, the way it's written, it's very inviting. It's more story form, so he's taken away from it, but he's also learning. And then to go along with this, we found a movie on Amazon Prime movie thing, whatever it's called. I don't know. I may be calling it the wrong thing. It's about spiders, and it's called, I have that wrote down because I knew I would forget. It's called Spiders, the Whole Story. I'm not gonna lie, guys, it is gross. I don't like spiders. I don't like looking at spiders. I don't like watching spiders. Davis came through and Luke was watching it, and he's like, this is so gross. But it shows you, you know, how the spiders live, how they build their homes, and the gross part is their food. But I mean, that's part of life, and that's how they eat. And it's just really neat. The whole thing for that spiders is like 51 minutes long, but it's broken down in segments. And so like this past Friday, yesterday he watched how they ate or something like that, and something else, because he'll watch like 2 of the little series a day, and they're maybe 10 minutes long, if that. So he's been doing that, which I think it's gross, but whatever. And that's basically it. I mean, we've done well. Like I said, it was a great week. I can't complain. I have high hopes that next week's going to be just as good. Luke is moving up in his readers. One of the readers we have been, a lot of the level 1 readers I've noticed are kind of hard. And so I stumbled upon the Penguin Random House readers, and I love those things. I've been getting those, and they have like level 1, and in level 1 you have A, B, C, and D. And so as each letter goes up, the reader gets harder. Well, then you go to level 2, and it starts with E, F, G, H, I think. So he's moved from level 1D to level 2E. So that's going well. But anyway, that is our wrap of the week, and that's kind of what we've done. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day.